Well, hello, everyone, and thank you for joining us today to talk about the signs and symptoms of outdated accounting. I'm really excited to be sharing some of my insights and information on this, and please feel free to ask questions. I love them. And so they're a help and very useful. And of course, we are recording this session. And so the recording and the slides will be made available for you. And you can also reach out to me at any time. So let's jump right into it. And oh, happy September. Summer is not officially open for a couple of closed or ended for a couple of weeks more, but it always feels like once you get past Labor Day, work starts up all over again. So nonprofit and outdated accounting. Many of you who are listening may actually know me or have heard my name, Jacki Tiso. I'm the founder and CEO of JMT Consulting. And I'm an accountant. I'm very proud of it. I love accounting. I know accounting and financial management systems. And in 30 years of leading JMT, I have seen a lot of outdated systems and not just unique to nonprofit organizations either. But the thing I really want to talk about here, and you'll hear me mention it a few times, is that outdated accounting is actually one piece of outdated technology that nonprofit organizations are dealing with. So, I'm going to touch on that. And what I'm sharing about nonprofit outdated accounting isn't actually unique to accounting systems. If you think about it in the terms of the other systems across your organization, I think you'll see some similarities where it comes to weigh in. For me, it falls into three main challenges, and they are around, and I'm going to give you signs, but they really all fall into these three, which is a lack of automation, a lack of collaboration, and then just digitalization in general. And you've probably heard or been reading the term digital transformation. It's a very big term out there quite often, and it's spoken to. And so, I'm going to share some information about that as well and how it relates to accounting and financial management systems as well. So, yes, I actually have this slide here talking about mission. And so the first thing I would say is for all the accountants and finance people, please don't stop listening because this slide has come up. I'm not going to talk about how to create a mission statement or why it's important. You all probably have a mission statement and you know how important it is. What I am going to share is that everything across your organization should support your mission, and that includes your systems and technology. And most of the time when we think about technology, we're not thinking in terms of the mission and its impact on the mission specifically. So technology, this term is very broad, and it has lots of different definitions, but and it is a really hard thing to define. And if you Google the term technology, as with most things in Google, hundreds of pages will come up and hundreds of definitions as well. So what I'm sharing here is my definition. And it really is about where, knowledge is connected with the systems and processes we use to solve problems. That to me is what technology is about and what its mission is. And, what's interesting here is that, how it's used to solve problems, because most organizations we work with, their technology is often a contributor to their challenges and not really solving them. And outdated accounting systems are actually a perfect example of this. So if you were to Google nonprofit technology, you actually would have it come up, and it would exist and have a definition, which, I've shared here, my English language version of it. And bottom line, it does exactly what it is supposed to do, which is what we're talking about here, mission. Technology should always be in support of your mission. Every bit of your technology across your organization, without exception. Now, is that the reality? No. And here again, it's not just related to nonprofit organizations, but since nonprofits are my passion, and that's what my focus and purpose is, that's what I'm going to, talk to right now and with this webinar. So when I talk with organizations, I go in and do a business review and analysis. I'm looking at technology and the organization as a whole. Without exception, organizations will see us. I'm a finance person, accountant. JMT does a tremendous number of ERP and accounting systems. So the very natural inclination is we're being talked to specifically about accounting, but I'm not going in and talking about accounting solely. I'm looking at all of the technology across the organization, because I'm about finance as the hub of an organization. And I'll talk about this more in a bit. And what I find here again is that most organizations' technology and systems, they really are like a house of cards. And it doesn't happen overnight. It's a process that happens over years. But over those years, the patchwork grows. It's born and it continues to grow. And it's very hard, very easy to have this happen, because a lot of times, one department will identify a need, and they'll go to look and have that need met. And then they will have software that they view is absolutely the right fit for the software. And then you multiply this by different departments going across the organization, and you can see how you get a patchwork of technology. And the main issue here, and the reason for this that I have found, is basically not having a technology strategy or a vision. It is the most common challenge across organizations. It's one of the first questions I will ask. What is your, do you have a technology strategy? Yes or no? Is it documented? Can you share it with me? And it is most often no. And it's totally understandable. IT staff come and go. Your staff is often overwhelmed and or understaffed. Technology continues to move forward at the speed of light. So it is difficult for IT staff to stay abreast of the threats and emerging tech that is happening. There's no documentation of the current systems that might exist across your organization. There might be no historical backup on why the systems were put in place, what was the drivers, the vision, goals for it. And, and it could be broad, far-ranging across, an organization and the different systems. And, especially when I think about, where is the technology meeting an organization's needs, that ongoing assessment of whether, your systems are compliant with regulations such as HIPAA, hugely important. But we don't think about, looking at these trends that are happening and the changes in compliance and regulation that's happening and how our software will meet those regulations. So if you're thinking about your accounting system, your accounting software, your financial management software, you really have to also think strategically about your other systems across your organization. And this goes to integration, hugely important. I mentioned earlier that finance is the hub of any organization's operations. I believe that very strongly. Everything touches money in some way, shape, or form. And no department is better at holding accountability to goals and outcomes than finance. So it makes sense that, if you look at how I view finance as the hub, it makes sense that systems across your organization should be integrated so the information that's needed to deliver on the mission is happening ongoing, automatically, without somebody touching it. And here again, I'll talk more about this later. Someone really does own the data versus having 3 or more people touching data and master records. And quantifying how it's supporting your organization on your mission delivery and your outcomes and your impact, and that it's visible to all. The big thing about integration is that you want to ensure, and here again, I view this as financial management, you want to ensure that there's one source of truth for your organization, and the vital metrics, dollars and metrics that are important for your organization. And, so hugely, hugely important. And, here I'm talking about the importance all along, and this is really the benefits of it. If you think about it, rather than just why is it important, there's a direct benefit that your organization is going to realize when your systems are integrated into your financial management accounting system. That flow of information between systems is vital, so there's visibility at the level and detail needed across your organization. And here again, remember, accounting finance departments aren't like they were 20, 30 years ago, where it was sort of this little back office function where the team were heads down with the calculators and, the debits and credits. It's way, way far beyond that. It is very much a strategic contributor to your organization. And that ability has to have the level and detail of information and not just dollars. And the other thing it does, this visibility, is that it provides and enhances collaboration across your organization. And I mentioned before about, that one source of truth, internal controls, who's touching the data, how are they touching it? If you're bringing something from over here and now you're bringing it into another system and you're manipulating it to get in there, manual manipulation to get it in there. So what other changes might be happening to the information? ensuring that you have secure data with an auditable trail, so that you really know, where did this data change? How did it change? Who changed it? When did it change? So today, integration is huge, So this is number one sign for outdated accounting system, but I would argue not just in your accounting, but for your organization. How many systems do you have? What information is held in each one? How is that information being used by who? How is it being integrated across your organization? Hugely important and a key indicator of the fact that you have outdated technology. So vision. Okay, so now you might have, be thinking, okay, she started with that mission, and now she's talking about mission and vision. But stay with me here. I'm not talking about mission and vision as what you might be thinking about when you think about strategic planning and all of that. I'm speaking specifically that we have to have a forward vision when we think about technology and how it can support your organization. You need to think about that vision, and this goes to the technology strategy slide earlier. What is your current state right now, and what's your vision for across your organization for the flow of information that you need? And so that's the forward vision that I'm talking about. And this is one of the most challenging areas, I think, for organizations to confront and try to get past, is how do you envision and quantify the positive impact and benefit that technology can provide? It is a challenge for every organization. You may recognize I've got an outdated accounting system or some other system, but how do I quantify the impact it's actually having for my organization? So, as I mentioned earlier, I've had the pleasure of working in accounting for, now it's probably over 40 years, JMT 30. And during that time, I have used many of the legacy accounting systems you may have or be working on currently today, as well as the new ones. So certainly all of the Microsoft Dynamic applications that have now evolved into Microsoft Business Central. You have QuickBooks if you're a smaller organization, although we have, organizations that are way past the point of QuickBooks, but are still using it. Funware, here's a solution that has been basically discontinued support any kind of work with it. But we know there are organizations out there that are still using Funware. We have Serenic, we have MIP, we have Sage, a number of different Sage products under the different numbering, Sage 50, Sage 100, Sage 300. They're all strong accounting systems. I call them legacy primarily because the focus of these applications, and especially when they were built, was about automating the recording and tracking of transactions. So, and they do a great job at that. But today, financial management is not about just the debits and credits tracking, recording. It is way more than that. And so accounting systems, of yesterday, different technology platforms, they're not delivering what nonprofits should have today, and that are needed today, that CFOs are looking for today. So, you know, when you think about your accounting system, you can look at this and you can, you know, identify, okay, my CFO, my executive director, CEO, my board, they absolutely want to have streamlined processes and faster insight into information. They have to make decisions very quickly. The demand on our organization's resources and mission is greater than it has ever been. COVID has identified that. So greater demand with often funding that has gone down. Where are my resources? How are they being utilized? You know, where may I be in the future? Not only growth necessarily, but what changes do I need to make in my programs that we're delivering across our organization? So, you know, when you look at your accounting system or your other systems across your organization, you really want to think about, you know, is my system allowing me to do this? Is it supporting me in doing this, proactively supporting me in this without myself or my team jumping through any hoops? And so, you know, when we think about streamlining processes as an example, many organizations that we work with will have manual processes across all different areas of their organization that are like this. And this is a, you know, payment process example. And there's loads of manual steps in here. There's manual logs and lists. There's making copies. There's processing through approvals. Is it coded properly? Do we have the right program? There's a manual filing. And the thing here is that all of this is much more streamlined today and automated, much of it automated, because the system becomes the system of record, the audit trail on what is being touched, how it got in, where it got in, when it got in, who put it in, when it's been looked at, when it's been updated, all the way through. And so there's this level of audit trail and internal control where these manual processes were needed to be had because the systems couldn't do it. But today the systems can do it. So, you know, one of the things when you're looking at your accounting system specifically is, where are you spending time in manual efforts outside of your system? So, you know, just take a piece. If you don't have your current processes documented, you could take a piece of paper and say, okay, just very simplistically, I'm going to follow this paper as it's going through our process. And you can create a process map just on one. The idea here is to provide you visibility to where you have value added work versus non-value added work. Hugely important. So, you know, when you think about technology today, the key thing that is happening is that there is real-time visibility, which equals collaboration. There's mobility, you know, the ability to access your information anywhere, anytime, any device, at the security level that you need. Analytics, hugely important. Financial management systems are no longer about just accounting, hugely important as accounting is. It is about what is the data and those numbers telling us. What are the analytics that we can identify? Is a program, yes, this program is fully funded. This other program is not. But your mission, your board has authorized that funding to bring in what is needed in furtherance of your mission. And it's a conscious decision made strategically and not after the fact. Oh, we don't have enough funds here. We need to release some funds or allocate some funds. Hugely important. And we all know from what's happened over the last 18 months, and we still are dealing with it, is the ability to have adaptability to a changing environment. So important to be able to adapt and step up with information as it's needed. So another sign is manual reporting. So we talked about manual processes and how we could streamline them, and manual reporting. Every organization we talk with has manual reporting that's going on. They're taking information sometimes just from their accounting system and exporting it out into Excel and doing analysis or formatting or whatever it is that they need. They're putting that information out and then using that to bring in information from other systems, that lack of integration that we talked about earlier. Tremendous amount of time and effort invested in manual reporting. You shouldn't have to go out to Excel to get especially core information. Now, am I saying that Excel is going to go away or any spreadsheet is going to go away 100%? Absolutely not. I am as addicted to spreadsheets as anyone else. Hey, I'm an accountant. How could you not? The flexibility, right, and the power that you have in them. But they shouldn't be your core source for how your organization is doing, what it's doing. They can be a huge danger to your organization. Key to this is just human error that can happen. The fact that there's no audit trail and things can be changed. Errors can occur and you would not have visibility to the errors. There are just so many dangers. And, you know, one of the biggest ones is just staff time and resources. Every organization we work with, they all suffer from the same thing. There is more work than there are hours in the day. And so to take and expand on that, why spend time in hours spent that you are so valuable that you could be using in another area for your organization, looking at the data, evaluating the data rather than spending time trying to pull the data together. So that visibility is hugely important, and it's very expensive to your organization, not having automation here and not having that visibility to information. One of the things that I tell organizations to do, and we hear this all the time, a organization will come in and they'll share an Excel and it's their monthly reporting or something, and it's got lots of tabs and budget to actual, and they'll share it. And we are always amazed at the amount of creativity that exists in these spreadsheets. And we always hear, it doesn't take me much time. It's just old hat now. I'm able to whip it out in, an hour or two. But what we try to share with organizations is that hour or two is costing your organization money. And now multiply that by how many, 12 months, a year, the person's salary, what is the real cost to your organization? And then there's the intangible cost of your controller, or you as a CFO, or a program manager or director spending time doing this and not being able to spend time in the areas that have a greater return on investment, where they would be so much more valuable to spend their time. So it is hugely expensive to your organization, and I can't stress that enough. So just like with streamlining and automating your processes, your reporting is hugely important, and it should just be coming out of your software and your accounting system. You're definitely, if you can't get it out of your accounting system, the first thing you want to do is find a expert like JMT, our products. The first thing we do when a client says to us, well, I'm not getting what I need from my software. Well, we look at your software and what it is that you're looking for, and then we do an assessment, because a lot of times it's not a function of the software. The software can actually do what you're looking for. It's just a matter of redesign or education of your team, training. So those are the things that you really want to give consideration to. Now, dashboards. Everybody is hearing and talking about dashboards, and rightfully so. Dashboards have created not only visibility, but they've created innovation. They've created, thinking that is looking at information and understanding, wow, this information, look what this is telling me. This particular program in this location, Meals on Wheels, our demand in this area has gone up threefold, and our funding is not keeping up. And imagine if you had visibility to that information, not just dollars, but statistical metrics side by side coming in from other systems. If you had visibility to that information right on your dashboard as it was happening, how valuable would that be for your organization? And, and not just in the pocket of finance, because that's the other thing today, is the visibility to information across your organization at the level it's needed. If your departments outside of finance and your managers outside of finance are waiting on you to get information to them, then that is another sign of outdated accounting. And this is what I was talking about earlier, performance cards. Here again, hugely important. And the other thing you'll notice here is dashboards are about the reader. They're not about finance's vision. It is about the reader, and is it in the format that is going to resonate with the reader? And so the ability to have that visibility to information in the format needed by the reader is hugely important. And so graphs and charts and all of that are, extremely, extremely vital. So when you look at your accounting system, you want to look at it and, just answer some questions. Is your chart of accounts structure providing the level of data tracking that you need, both dollars and statistical? Hugely important. It's not about dollars alone anymore. If you're going out to Excel because you need to break down information to another level and you need to slice and dice it differently, then that's a flag that your accounting system may be struggling and not where it needs to be. Automated workflows. So today, this goes to the process improvement. Today, it is about automation within the system so that you don't have to have pieces of paper floating around, emails floating around, files. If someone wants to see something, having to go to a file or email an attachment. Today, it is about this information being in your financial management system, and hence why it's, like, I don't call it accounting anymore because it's not just accounting, it's financial management. It's also that ability for all those sort of things that were on the sidelines, like, here are our maintenance agreements over here that we have for these various vendors and equipment. Do we have our W-9? So many organizations we go in, they've got a manual log that they're keeping for, did we get a W-9 from, all our vendors? All of that should be in your financial management system. And same thing with like grant and contract funded organizations. 80% of JMT's clients are grant and contract funded. And there's a tremendous amount of information that is needed to be captured. And often it is either in a grant management system that's not integrated. That's like, if it's in a system that's dedicated to grant management, that's great, but it's not integrated. Or it's in a homegrown database, and maybe more than one. Different program managers may have their own methodology, their own systems in Excel. Financial management, that ability to capture that information that's needed in financial management systems so that when a grant is being applied for, a contract RFP is happening, that you have visibility right from the moment that it happens, it starts. So here again, I already spoke about the Excel or spreadsheets and the dashboards, and then accessibility to your system. If you're having to jump through some hoops with hosting and you sometimes have struggles with them, if you're going through internal IT, VPN, Citrix, things like that, here again, you want to look at the solutions and how your financial management could be updated for all this. So now I'm listing 2, 3, and 4. So I spoke about, the technology vision and the, strategies around that and integration. And so that was number 1. Here, we're talking about the manual processes, the lack of automated workflows, approvals, manual reporting, and then the fact that if your finance department is the only one that has any visibility, and FYI, visibility is not does not equal sending out a report in, even 15 days after a month end. That's not visibility. These are all challenges organizations have today that go to those 3 challenges I started with: automation, lack of automation, a lack of collaboration, and digitization, which I'm going to speak to next. all of these have a huge impact on your organization. And often the true level of that impact is goes unrealized. And this is because your team is used to dealing with this every day. The process and workarounds simply go unnoticed, and you don't recognize the cost and the time investment that is happening for your organization. Okay, so digitization. So, I think of digitization, it's the highest level of technology strategy. It's, this holistic view of what technology will deliver across your organization. And it really falls into these four categories for myself. And it's about, how to optimize your operations across your organization so that you're more responsive and efficient and effective, more impactful in delivering your mission. It's about collaboration, across your organization for both internal and external constituents. So your staff, the clients you serve, your funders, your board. An example of this is Charity Water, for their fundraising donor experience. They actually created an interactive bot that lets users simulate the experience of a young girl walking every day for 2.5 hours to get water for her family. So the donors would be able to personalize what that experience could be. I mean, that's digitalization and how you can connect. And, it's not just about the technology of pushing a button or something. How can you reimagine how you deliver a personal experience in your program delivery, both for your clients you're serving as well as to your other partners? And, and for employees, if you're like so many organizations and companies, nonprofit and for-profit, you're probably being impacted by staff changes. It's unbelievable what's going on right now. It's they're calling it the Great Resignation. It is unanticipated in any way. And so technology is becoming a big deal because individuals and new employees that are coming in, they want to work for companies that have newer technology that is, creating less work for them and not more work, that their work can be impactful and not, pushing a manual piece of paper through a paces. So hugely important when you think about your employees as well. So digitalization is, crosses over for myself and how I look at it. It crosses over cloud computing, AI, artificial intelligence. You're probably hearing about that and have been for the last couple of years. And then predictive analytics. This goes to the data and the value of the data and what is the data telling us. And that data needs to be, dollars and metrics that make sense for your organization. It's also about continuous accounting. And here again, this is another one that you've no doubt heard. I have been a proponent of this for a few years. And I am definitely pushing against the, going against the stream here. Being an accountant, right, we have to have the numbers be right, perfect, before we can release them. And we need to step away from that. We need to recognize the value of the information as it is happening. And that's what continuous accounting is. And, what I talk to organizations about is that in today's technology, we have the ability to have access to the information we need as part of our financial management function every day. We don't have to wait for month end, for a statement or any of that. We have access to all this information live, and it can come into our systems. And so having that visibility as it is happening is hugely important. And it can significantly improve your organization's operations. So outdated accounting is that, we've got to have a hard close, and we can't release information before we have done these 10 steps as part, these 10 tasks. Looking at all of that and reevaluating it is hugely important. And, the idea behind this is that you would have that ability to continuously see, and think about this from your program delivery and your program management and grant management side, to have the ability to continuously monitor how are we operating against a budget, a grant, as regards the grant dollars. Our application, our metrics, our impact. When we received this grant, we applied for this grant or this contract, we said, this is what we're going to do. Having that visibility right in front of you and seeing how you're doing against it. Those are your KPIs, your metrics. What is the value of that to your organization? And then, of course, the process automation, having that happen automatically and having dashboards to be able to see all of this. Imagine how game-changing this would be for your organization. So when you think about your accounting system, you don't want to think about just, okay, I'm bringing a new accounting system or a financial management system, and here I'm going live. When you think about it, you want to think about, this is my current state, and here's the future state I want to get to. Here's my vision when everything is said and done. And it should be a 2 or 3 year vision for what it means to your organization. Go live in any solution you implement, not just accounting. That is just a simple baseline to get started. It is the first step. It is on the journey. The continuous monitoring, okay, this goes for the AI. More and more financial management systems now are building in the ability to continually monitor how you're doing in there and proactively communicating it. So imagine having a dashboard and having a message come up on your dashboard about it. And, it's machine learning. So it learns over time and identifies, course corrections, and it's based on data, not, assessments. It's about that last piece right there, continuous trust in that visibility. And then just the continual audit aspect of, you haven't created something like this with this combination of program and grant or account. Is this correct? Just want to check. And, as I said, it gets smarter, it learns as it goes along, and more financial management systems, this is what they're building into it. And it will create and, say, hey, you don't have, a W-9 here. I need to send an email off to this vendor, we're missing this information. Imagine having all of that happen automatically without you having to create a log, then manually send out an email, and then identify, oh, we can't pay this because I happen to know we don't have their W-9. Imagine if all of that was automated. And that's what's happening more and more in the future. And that's available right now today, and it's just getting stronger. And this goes to that emerging tech. This technology is already out there, and it's just expanding. And then the analytics, really looking at what you're doing, how you're doing it, and seeing the improvements of it. So if you think about this from the perspective of program delivery, the number of clients you're serving, how you're serving them, are they returning and coming back through your organization, and how many times, and what are the different services across your organization you're providing to them? All of this is part of what systems and the technology does today. So when we think about outdated accounting, you really have to ask yourself, can I, through my system, get dollars and the key metrics that are important for my organization side by side in a report without me sending it out to Excel and being the human integration system? And bottom line, if I went into my management right now and just gave an anonymous survey and said, are you getting what you need when it comes to information needed to run your program, your department, serve your clients, what do you think that response might be? So in summary, I'm going to just put them all out there and share the 6 all in one slide for you. And as I said, and I've been saying, if you think about this not only in the perspective of your accounting system, but across your other systems, they apply across the board. And you do want to look at this. Even if you implemented a new system last year, you want to look at this and see how much you've moved the needle, because remember what I said, implementation and go live is only step 1 in the process and the vision. And I hope these have been of value, but I also hope you've gotten a sense of what you could actually achieve for your finance department and your financial management. Key to this is having an innovation mindset. It's very hard to change off of something that we know and has, in our mind, been working okay. Change is difficult, but if you think about all the change we've gone over through the last 18 months plus, it is a disruption, but it also creates innovation and new thinking. Having a holistic mindset about modernizing your technology across your organization. Create a vision and a technology strategy. Starting with your accounting system might have the most impact. And I often think it is hugely important because it is, as I said, the hub of your systems. But if you just, regardless of what system you're upgrading, if you simply will look at it from the perspective of what is your vision for the future. And, that bullet there about having influence versus control leadership style. I know this one is very hard, especially for accountants. I don't want to let the information out. What if it's wrong, it's off? But that's a communication perspective with all of your readers. So here's some of the challenges, and I've talked with them already, so I don't think there's much more I could say here. This is change, but the best way to go through change is to engage everybody, even if you think it, quote unquote, doesn't really touch them. When it comes to financial management, it actually touches everybody. So be innovative. Technology supports innovation, and so be innovative. And mission, your mission is so hugely important, and technology should be doing everything it can to support your mission delivery and provide the services that your organization needs to. So I want to thank you for joining us. Please feel free to reach out, especially if you're thinking about your technology strategy or your financial management vision for the future. We are here to help you, and I thank you. Okay, so we don't have any questions. So I am going to sign off, and thank you again to everyone for attending. Very much appreciated.